Rahubat Moisar, and welcome to another live reading. Our scroll for today will be Paa Taraq, our tone, wavelength A. All right, sent down for you, Nuwapians. Sometimes you'll see as Sabians as well. All right, so before we start reading our scroll, we're going to take a moment to acknowledge our master teacher, acknowledge ourselves and each other, and get right into our reading. All right, so let's just start by acknowledging ourselves, because your first confirmation is you, and you can do that through your very breath. All right, so we're going to just start by taking a few deep breaths. All right, being mindful of your anatomy and that you're breathing properly. All right, because when we're breathing properly, all right, we tap into more of our potential. All right, there's more of our body that's alive. All right, and your mind is also another dimension of your body. All right, so it's all taking place right here. All right, through this very moment, through your breath. All right, so you're going to see, am I in the image of natural nature as nature intended, or am I out of the design of natural nature? All right, so you're going to see how you're standing, how you're using your body, all right, the way it's intended. All right, so when you breathe in through your nose, you're going to remember your entire respiratory system, all right, and the very muscles that's part of your respiratory system, and a major one is your diaphragm. So when you're breathing in properly, all right, and you're not shallow breathing, you're going to notice that your stomach goes out, all right, because that's your diaphragm descending downward. All right, and it puts a nice pressure and massage on your internal organs. So that's the benefit of breathing properly. It stimulates the movement and stimulation of your organs. All right, and as you keep inhaling, the diaphragm acting like a vacuum, and effortlessly air is being pulled into the mid part of your lungs because it's already down here. It starts expanding outward. And as you keep inhaling, the stomach is going in because the air is moving to the top part of your lungs. All right. And when everything is fully expanded, you hold the breath for a moment because you're absorbing the power, all right, the spark, the life force. And you exhale out. All right. So that was the smile breath. You just did a smile breath. All right. So let's do that together. And you're going to notice as you're breathing properly that your posture is automatically being aligned. All right. So your breath itself is in alignment. All right. So for your body come into alignment. It's alignment time. All right. Because it's very difficult to breathe in properly when you're slouching. So if you slouch your shoulders and kind of lean in one direction, you'll notice that it impedes your breath. All right. So for those of us who struggle with our posture, if you just focus on breathing properly, you'll notice that in time, your posture would be automatically corrected. All right. And anything else that's leaning sideways. All right. Even your very emotions. So you're going to notice emotionally, what are you feeling? Work through that. All right. And notice on your body what correlates to that. So feel yourself coming to center through your emotions, all right, until you're here. Where are your thoughts? Is it in the future? Is it in the past? All right, and feel yourself work through that mental plane until you're right here in the present plane, all right, with your fellow brothers and sisters, right? So you're breathing in the support, healing, Ashuk divine love, from Paa Taraq, the very forces of natural nature, the very forces that permeate through all living objects, and it's very abundant in the air. We call it Sakem. That's what we tap into, all right? And Hindus, they call it prana, all right? Orientals, they call it chi. The natural races are aware of the counterpart of oxygen. All right. And that's what restores our nervous system. All right. Your nervous system is very important because you use your nervous system to interact with outside stimuli to sense the world around you, but also for internal stimuli for your internal conversations, to exercise your willpower. That's all nerve force to beat your very heart. It all takes nerve force to process a scroll. All right. When you're reading something or communicating, all right, that's all nerve force. So by breathing properly, you're supporting the nerves and you feel yourself calm down, all right, or come down. All right. So there's all of that I shared is all from the breath book, also from my own confirmations of just living life. All right. So there's more exercises specifically to heal or to address different aspects or dimensions of ourselves. And 3 breaths that you could take time to do on your own will be the nerve revitalizing breath. All right. Revitalization, vitality. All right. To bring life back into it. All right. So that is a very important breath that's in the breath book. The vocal breath, as we take our stories back to heal our own story, as it's time to tell our own story. All right. Our own story and our own voice, our own vibration. All right. And of course, the cleansing breath. There's so many other exercises. All right. So take time to go through those exercises. All right. So we acknowledge ourselves through our breath, and I confirm my reality. And I want to take a moment to acknowledge our master teacher, Baabaa Yaanun, who brings us together as Baba shares these stories of nature, of natural nature, so that we can remember once again. So we acknowledge our master teacher, who is a living and breathing flesh and blood embodiment, all right, of our Shuk for the purpose of bringing us together as our nucleus, because we come together in this group for the purpose to read this scroll to heal our stories. So we welcome our teacher, Baabaa Yaanun, our master teacher, into this divine circle of healing. And that's why we say, Apta Paa Taraq la ye rawuk em Yaanun, Apta Paa babab la yehu. Open the door to the soul of Yaanun, the soul, Rawuk, soul, spark of life, breath of life, soul of the people. Open the door towards him, towards who? Because it is important to remember who you are, not what you became after all these movements. To remember who you are at your core, at the very source of all expansion. And then we say, Abdul Kalat Polorat, Wufa Kur Bisamus Papaut. Begin all prayers and thinking by using the all expanding. Samus, using the all expanding. Use your nose as a thing of opening, as your breath itself is the all expanding. As you expand outward in every direction through your breath. Use your thing of opening, all right, which is your nose. Mipta. Mipta is a thing of opening. Your nose is also a thing of opening. And then we say, Barur, 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 Nabab, Nadar, Mugdad. Now it's Mugdad, Badid Patah. Now it's Muklas, Badid Yaanun. Holy, holy, holy. Master Overseer Almighty. Holy as in the holy thing. All existing gases, all people, all times, all places, our omnipresence, our omnipotence. Master Overseer Almighty Pa'ut, because what is greater than Pa'ut? What can you take from Pa'ut? Because where would you place it? In Pa'ut. And I affirm that I am part of the all-expanding, and the all-expanding is part of me. Paa Taraq. Anuki Jawef Pa Ashok M Pa Pahut. Wu Kalal Ashok Kawun Jawef Niya. Anuki Kasamun M Pa Pahut. Wu Pa Pahut Kawun Kasamun M Niya. Anuki Wahu Ame Pa Pahut. Wu Pa Pahut Kawun Wahu Ame Niya. Nakuk Kado Naja Ame Kasam En Pa Pahut. Wu Chabub Ame Mushkas Nakuk Kado Kawan Kalal Pafef Nakuk Ayo Jawef Pa Pahut. Ame Wase Ame Ayani Kawun Lake Bako Jawef Pa Pahut. Anuki Abed Biye Nafashni. Pa Pahut Kawun Anuki. Pa Pahut Kador Nakuk Kador. Pa Pahut Amul Nakuk Amul. The all is, I am. The all can, I can. The all does, I do. And I affirm that they are me and I am them. The very forces of Panadaru, the very forces of natural nature. I am their Karadu. And this is for them, from us. Accept us, we accept you. Lahehum Manehnun Anshum Ate Karerhum Anshum Ate Karerkum Anshum Ate Karernun Anshum Ate Jawef Niya Anshum Ate Niyawu Anukihum Ya ye ashukreye Ashmu Jayehnun Ya ye nataru aufuknun Nahun ater muprarukum Ya ye nataru aufuknun 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 Ya ye notarunun Anun Atum Atum Amu. And we acknowledge our master teacher, and we acknowledge our scrolls itself that was set down for us as a guidance and a healing. And this is the scroll that we will be reading today, our tone wavelength A, Paa Taraq. And we accept that this book is the truth and the way. Pasawab u Paa Taraq. Anen misfak hawun. Pasawab u Paa Taraq. Ze kawuna na zulala he amtkun. Mane muspat wu masa. Ama hade amumudamau. Mane muslafukum. Unataru. Arjulaye nafashukum. Aufukshane kawunku. Pasawabu Paa Taraq. Pahadeamu padamal. Nahun tawuanskum. Lahe panenda malwu shafe. Nahun tawuanskum. Lahe tem nasoinu. Nahun tawuanskum. Lahe ashakuma. Anskum ater muslafunu. Nahun ater mukradukum. Nahun salub nasar kuma. Nahun salub nasar kuma. Ansanun kahena taru. Ansanun muslafunu. Nahun ater muspatu. Anun atun. Atun. Amun. We are Sabians. Tawakum, Nataru, Umuntaru, for not forgetting us. And Tawatak, Muntar, Baabaa Yaanun, in the personage of His Excellency, Dr. Malachi York, for bringing us together, all right, and for incarnating for this day and age, all right, in this time. And Tawakum to us, Moisar, as we are doing our very best to transform into the very best versions of ourselves in our one collective body. And let's acknowledge our Muslafu ancestors, all right? Our Muslafu, Tawakum, because we're still here, all right? And our scroll for today that we will be reading is Paa Taraq, our tone, wavelength A, all right? Take a moment and look at the scroll as you see, as we renew our story with the scarab beetle. We have a shashtat and we have the babtat coming together, all right, for our physical and etheric counterparts working together, all right, for our collective story as one people as we tune ourselves up. So there's so much that's being talked about, all right, from our sacred symbols, all right, and as we renew our story, all right. So take time and look at the cover and all the pictures. We'll take a moment to acknowledge our master teacher, the author of this scroll, all right, Baabaa Yaanun, the master teacher, known to us as His Excellency Malachi York. Kobina means born on Tuesday, June 26, 1945 AD in Ghana, Africa. And we acknowledge the scroll of eyes, all right? Because one of Baba's many hats that he wears is Patah, as the opener, as the purpose of this scroll is to open the mind's eye as we all come together, all right? For the purpose of reawakening ourselves. All right. So feel free, everyone, to participate and to unmute anytime. All right. So let's start our reading. The revelations to the Nawapians, Paa Taraq, the way. Our tone, wavelength 8. Lekum I Yasar Nuwapu, for you all, my family Nuwapians, I greet you, Marer Karadu, beloved children, with much ashuk, divine love. 2. I have sent you much information, that came to earth as information in the form of words. 3. As their holy books say, in the beginning was the word. And the other of their holy books say that Madat's word was to be. In Hebrew is kun. Kun means to be. All right. So now you see kun is to be. If you read it the other way, the opposite way, or your etheric counterpart, Nook. All right. That is I am. All right. So the all is I am. All right. And then also I wanted to mention in the picture, Baabaa is also another one of his hats that he wears is transmitter. All right. And those are Baabaa's coordinates as Baabaa taps in to the wisdom of Paa Taraq to help tap us in. All right. And we learn to do that in the breath book as well. And also this scroll is going to go into that. So kun to be existing, being. All right. I am. That's a state of being. In Arabic, it is the same meaning, to be. Kun, kawun, is, all right, to be, existing, being. Quran means, Quran, al-Baqarah, all right, al-Baqarah is chapter 2, verses 117. 4. And Madatat's words are Sawat's voice, and voices are sounds, and sounds are tones, and tones are Tawalat's frequencies, and Masak music, that are notes, pitch and key. All right. If I can remember clearly, Tawalat, I remember being interchangeably used with emotions. All right. So emotions, frequencies. All right. So Tawalat is frequencies. All right. Music are notes, pitch, and key. So anything that has to do with words is sound. 6. Masak music, no matter the volume, has rules or frequencies and wavelength. 7. Know that frequencies are only resonant when one wavelength is the exact multiple of the other of the same key. All right. So now, for example, you have a note and you multiply it. So for example, you can have different waves of the same note. So like for example, 432 hertz. All right, that's a hertz is how fast that wave is moving. All right. So if you cut that in half, you'll be one octave down. 432. So what's half of that? That's 218. I think. Let me see. Or is it 217? All right. So 217 is the exact half. So that'll be the exact resonance. All right. Whether it's 432 or 217, you'll just drop the one octave, but you're on the same note. All right. So you can still resonate anything that's on its own multiple of itself. All right. So for example, A on that exact frequency can resonate all other A's, even if it's on a lower octave or even a higher octave. All right. But there's a certain scale even still. So you can change the angle slightly. You're on 440. That's also the note of A, but it's a little bit slightly off. All right. So it won't resonate on 432. All right. So you have to be on 432 or its multiples. All right. And that's how you could resonate from one point to another, because, for example, you could have 2 points. All right. And when you think of 2 points and you think of the fastest way to get there, people think a straight line. All right. That's not true. The fastest distance between 2 points is actually a resonance, because once you vibrate that on point A, and if it's the same multiple, all right, as the other point, that other point will also vibrate automatically, all right, because some lines are just too long to travel. So you can get there because, like, for example, by the time you get there, you might be dead, all right, depending on how long your lifespan is. So the quickest way to get there is through a resonance, not a straight line, all right? And that's scientifically proven. Just anybody musician, they may have something, and then they'll tune it up over here, and that way across the room that they didn't even touch starts to vibrate because it happens to be on the same notes or the same resonance, all right? So that's one of the rules of vibration. So anything that has to do with, we're on 5. So anything that has to do with words is sound. Masonic music, no matter the volume, has rules of frequency and wavelength. Know that frequencies are only resonant when one wavelength is the exact multiple of the other of the same key. 8. On a piano keyboard of 88 keys of repeated octaves of 8 keys of major notes, white notes, and keys of sharps and flats. We deal with the majors to get harmony. All right. So another one of Baaba's many hats that he has worn, all right, and that he wears in this lifetime, he's a musician. All right. And he had his own recording studio. All right. And FAC, all right, was the harmony that is in a lot of his songs. All right. So Baaba's giving you the science of music. All right. So musicians, they'll have a head start in knowing what this is. All right. So you have octaves. All right. So we can call it a chromatic wheel of sound, a chromatic wheel. So when you turn a keyboard into itself, so we have a keyboard, and to get a whole octave, you have to go from C to C. C to shining. I just heard C to shining C, right? So C to C. All right. And then you'll end up in another octave. And then the notes are keep repeating itself. They're either getting higher and they're going around again, or they're getting lower as they go around again. And they just keep going around and around and around. You're going to different octaves. All right. Or different dimensions and sounds, from a very feminine sound to a very masculine sound, to a neutral sound, or to a very young sound, to an old sound. All right. But it's the same octave repeating over and over, same as colors on the color wheel. So you could turn that into a circle. All right. Yeah, you'll end up in a circle. All right. Where you can put the notes around it, you'll realize it keeps repeating. Same thing with the colors. You can put the colors around. That's why they call the color wheel is called a chromatic wheel. The sound wheel is also called the chromatic wheel. All right. So a piano has 88 keys of repeated octaves. All right. So there's not 88 notes. It's just 88 keys. And those same 8 notes keep repeating over and over again. All right. So now when you hear a middle C on a piano, the only thing that middle C represents is the middle note of the piano. So right in the middle of the piano, I'm going to circle it. I circled it down here. It's this C note splits the keyboard in half. All right. So the reason why C is so important is because C is where the beginning of the octave starts and the end of the octave starts, and that's where it starts over and over, and it just loops around and around on C. So middle C is where you are in the middle. So if you ever hear somebody say middle C, they're telling you to go to the middle of the keyboard, all right, or the piano or whatever you have, all right. So the human body has a sound. It's note A. A newborn baby's first sound is A major when it comes into this world and cries. So when babies are born, babies cry on the A notes. All right. And what's interesting, there was this one baby that I was learning about, because sometimes the cries can be distorted, and that actually can be a cue for what is it called? Deformities. So there's this one deformity that I learned about. A fetal alcohol syndrome can sometimes also shift the baby's note, because what happens is as the baby's forming, the in the woman's intake in alcohol, it can distort the formation of that child. All right. And but there's another one that's a genetic one. It's called Cruder-Cat syndrome. And the baby's voice sounds so strange. It really sounds like a cat in heat. It sounds like a cat in heat. All right. So that's how it got its name. And the baby cries on a different tone. So by that very tone, they know something is wrong with the child. But let's just say a healthy child. So healthy children come into the world with A major. All right. That's the note that they first make. All right. So the note A is the body's tone. All right. The healthy body's tone. By the time we've done so much things to ourselves, we may not be on that tone, but the healthy person is on A. All right. The planet Earth vibrates on F. And then the cosmos, it vibrates on C. All right. And now you see visually, all right, you have a whole octave. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. All right. So you go do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Then you go to another one. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's another octave. So you just keep repeating it. So we're simplifying the keyboard into just 8 notes. And it will keep repeating and repeating. And note the power of C. All right. Because the C allows you to re-loop again. So that's the cosmos. So natural nature. All right. So now when you look at Baabaa in the scrolls, you see Baabaa personified on A. All right. Tapping into the cosmos. All right. So you know he's tapping into the note of C. All right. To pull from the Akasha records or the conditional records. All right. From everything that ever was, everything that ever will be, the wisdom. All right. Of natural nature. All right. So the note of C is a note of natural nature, the cosmos. 9. So to link with Paa Salafu, the ancestors, who are now elemental beings, or Akaku, etheric beings, you need the key of C. All right. So if you want to communicate with your ancestors, you know which note that they're vibrating on. You need the note of C. That's when you need the note of C. So we're going to elemental beings. So Baaba's going to despookify. All right. He's despookifying our Natharu to us. That's why we look at the elemental chart. All right. And the nature. You notice that the elemental chart is also like a piano. Once you start studying the elemental chart in chemicals, you'll notice that it is a similar thing like a keyboard. And the octaves keep repeating because it's the same patterns of nature that keeps happening time and time again. So now when you go to get to know your Maslafu ancestors, spend time with the elements. You're going to go to the 99 names in the Tharu Noon, all right, and really sit there and chant. And you're going to notice the octaves repeating again and building on itself, all right, from the Agdads, all right, to the Enneads, to being water, all right, to light, to air, to solid things, matter, mass, all right. You're going to notice, though, that it's the same repetition, all right, just on different density levels, all right. So that's the octaves, all right. So here octave and here Agdads, all right. So you have one octave. So once you master yourself, you can master the movements of growth and cycles because you're part of that movement, right? So to link with Paa Salafu, the ancestors, who are now elemental beings, all right? You're made up these very elements. You're made up of these very elements, all right? Or ether, all right? So you know ether can solidify and build on itself to bring forth physical things, all right? So now our ancestors who have de-solidified itself, all right? So you need the code of you need the key of C, all right? To align your physical khatat body with them, you need the key of A, all right? So there's no shortcuts, no shortcuts, because A is the foundation as long as you have a physical body, all right? So if something's wrong with your physical body, take time to heal it, all right? Because why? You need to know the C, but in order to align with them, and in order to align your body with them, you need the note of A. All right. And to create harmony between you, you need the key of F. All right. Why? Because F is planet Earth, and this is your coordinates. This is your place. All right. So maybe if you're on another planet, all right, you may need another note, but on planet Earth, you need F, because that is how Earth vibrates, because Earth is also a living entity. So the foundation is A, all right, because you start with yourself. You're the foundation. All right. So that's why we take time to chant on A. We chant on A. All right. Because we're taking time to heal ourselves. Because sometimes the nature is perfect, but it is you who's distorted. So you start distorting information that's coming to you. All right. So you have to take time to tune yourself. All right. Right there. You see the body, and then you see that's for tuning. All right. So the foundation is A. 13. Newborn babies, when they enter into this Tapa world, the first sound they make is the frequency or note A. 14. This is the key root of your katat body. 15. The three together is FAC for both males on the left side of middle C and females on the right side of middle C, which is located in the center of a keyboard. All right. So you can have treble, which is the female symbol. So that's a treble. So right now, if you see treble, you know you're on more higher notes. All right. And then you have bass, which look like this. Bass looks like that. Something like that. All right. And then you can go through the octave. So you're on the other side. So you have the bass clef and the treble clef. Bass is the male, treble is female. And then you have the middle, all right, which is neutral. All right, middle C, which is neutral, or which is child. All right. So in order to have perfect pitch, use tuning forks held in the left hand. All right. So when I read this scroll, I didn't like the way people was chanting. I gotta be honest, but I also didn't like the way I chanted either. And I just wanted to learn how to chant. So I just followed the instructions of the scrolls because I felt people were trying to make me chant bad on purpose. That's what I felt. So, or I felt like they didn't care. Either that or they didn't care, or they were just like, this is the way we've always been doing it. Because one of the updates, Baabaa said he don't like the way we chant. We're on the wrong note. There was a lot of feedback, but then I was like, I didn't understand because my background wasn't music. All right. So all you have to do is follow the instructions. All right. And then take time to study. So literally, I learned to chant by following the scrolls because it can guide you. All right. If you don't see good examples around you, all right, then you become the example. All right. So you have to first know what it is. All right. So you get a tuning fork, which I got off of Amazon. And then I did a lot of study. All right. Man from Planet Risk also helped me to fine tune the kind of tuning forks because I bought a few. This is my favorite tuning fork, but I bought a few. All right. And then this one is 432. All right. So as I learned a little bit more about music, I noticed I'm on 1 octave down. So my voice vibrates more on 217, when I really work at it. Sometimes, you know, the more you chant on A, the more your default goes back to there. All right. But before I was chanting more on B. All right. I was chanting on B, and most people were chanting on B. And then also, then I started chanting more A sharp. And then when I really listen to it, I take time to breathe. Then you start to diagnose yourself and diagnose what's going on with the rest of the people. So as you realize that you go more sharp or B, and that can help you bring more anxiety. So sometimes a lot of people have anxiety, or sometimes they're flat. And then a lot of people are depressed, and you can hear it. So that's where I was learning. So I bought the tuning fork, and at first I was listening to it because I didn't know, so I just bought the tuning fork. And then I just held it on my right hand. But it's much easier you hold it in your left hand because Baba gives specific. But sometimes you want to do the opposite just to see, because that's the reason why you say why. So when you listen to sound on the right ear, it's much easier to receive it though on your left ear. For some reason, it's just easier, like it melts more into your system. So he said, hold it on your left hand. All right. And then as you learn the games that they played with the note of A, because why is the note of A manipulated so much? Now you know why. Because it controls the people. All right. And depending on what you do to the note of A, you can use it to heal, you can use it to distort. All right. And you could speed it up slightly to where it's slightly off for nature. So what they did, all right, is that they sped the note up to 440 hertz. All right. And that's what most people are on. And they did that with the Italian, I forgot what council did that. And then they went world over and tuned up internationally all the different notes. So I just find it's easier, from what I know so far, 432 hertz, because I have one at 440 hertz. Because when you buy a tuning fork, you don't know what to look for. You just buy A, they'll sell you 440 hertz. So when I would do that one, I would strike it. And when I listen to it too long, my head start hurting. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really like chanting. It gives me a headache. All right. But then I started doing more research and uncovering the tone of A, and then also reading how Baba explained that in not our tone, but A. If you ever have time to go again and read Man from Planet Risk, he talked about how monks, how they would naturally channeling or chanting just on that smooth, what did he call it? He called it, I'm just going to say biorhythm of earth. I mean, biorhythm of nature. All right. He called it something else, but biorhythm. I'm just going to call it that. And when they started to do all these inflections and different things like that, it changed their nature. All right. And then he talked about how they went off of that biorhythm and went on A. But then I was confused because I'm like, aren't you saying that A is healing? It's because of what they did to the A. All right. So there's no going around it, that the human body is on A. So you could plug it into the movements of natural nature, or you could plug it straight into the ego. All right. And you speed it up, and then now you're more on the tone of survival. All right. You're on survival, and they get you in an animal state. So all the music today, all right, that's popular and that's pushed out is now on 440 hertz. So when you get time, just look that up. I'm mentioning that because as I was learning about it, I was kind of a little bit confused. All right. So I had to take time to learn that. So then I bought a few tuning forks, and then this one is nice because I could just listen to it all day. And then I just go by that, and I don't get any type of distortions or headaches. All right. Or anything like that. All right. So the root key of your khatat's body. Let's go back. Newborn babies, when they enter this Tapa world, the first sound they make is the frequency or notes A, 14. This is the root key of your khatat's body. 15. The three together is FAC for both males on the left side of middle C and females on the right side of middle C, which is located in the center of the keyboard. 16, in order to have perfect pitch, use a tuning fork held in the left hand. All right. And sometimes, like, I had to retrain myself to even hear notes because I didn't even know what I was listening to. All right. And then you learn to tune yourself. So you notice that when you hear the tone, just hearing the right tone helps to tune you. And then when you do the right tone, that tunes you as well. And it tunes others who are listening. All right. So for unison, you must always be in the key of A. And for harmony, it is FAC. All right. So another thing Baabaa said, though, you cannot have harmony until you master unity. Unity comes before harmony. All right. So first you have to make sure the pitch is right. You start on your pitch with A. All right. So when you're by yourself, you can chant on A. When you come together, you could chant on A. When you master unity, now you can go into the harmony as you acknowledge all that's around you as well and all that you're inside. All right. So for unison, you must always be in the key of A. And for harmony, it is FAC. 18. The Tahite humanoid's hearing apparatus is such way that it is tuned to the frequency of A, of Masak music, scale, and the distance between Tahite's eardrum is an exact fraction of the wavelength of the note A. All right. So your Hammam Khatat's human body has been tuned when you were designed. Your natural height was 4'5" for females and 5'4" for males. The symbol of the humanoid's body, a natural tuning fork in the key of A. All right. And who's going to embody that the best will be the Tahites. All right. Before all these other distortions. That's why we take time to tune up. That's why we have all these meditation rituals. We have all these things to tune ourselves up, because as we got different heights, there was different shifts. All right. The air might be slightly off. All right. Things about you might be slightly off. So now we know why we tune up. All right. So you tune up your instrument. So tatat, shortened to tet, as in tayet or teti, teat, seed. All right. So now we could interchangeably not just use this for the Tahites, we can use this also for the female, for the woman. All right. Because tayet, tet, and noon tet. My name is noon tet. All right. So noon tet, for example, as a female. All right. Tet. Because whenever you put a tat next to something, you feminize it. All right. But also, it tells you also when you put a tat next to something, you also tune it up. You tune it. All right. So 20, your whole body used to resonate. I mean, that's a healthy female, right? Hopefully healthy. All right. So your whole body used to resonate on a resonance frequency as a resonator of perfect pitch A. All right. So it's again, your body used to resonate perfectly. So listen, your whole body used to resonate on a resonant frequency as a resonator. All right. So not only did it resonate, it also helped to resonate or affect, all right, that around it. All right. Of perfect pitch. All right. Some of us are out of pitch now. I know I was, and I still am to a degree. I'm working on it. It's been a few years I've been working on my pitch. All right. And I've come a long way. I'm very, I didn't used to like the way I sound. I like the way I sound now. I know I could still sound better because I could hear. Now I know what I'm listening for. I knew something was off, but I didn't know what. So now at least I can see, okay, I can hear a little bit clearer. All right. And I can also hear as well in others to a degree. All right. But the first thing I need to do is tune up my apparatus. All right. So your whole body used to resonate on a frequency or on a resonant frequency as a resonator of perfect pitch A. You have been untuned after much mixing and unnatural intakes, be it food or liquids of any kind. You have been mixed with unnatural DNA, and many of our females have slept with or drank from more than one male or more. And after 4 males, this transforms her DNA. All right. So we already went back to Teti as Tahite. We went back to Teti for seed. We went back to Teti for also feminine. All right. Now we're talking about the woman again. And why is that? Because whatever has been done to her, that's going to be done to humanity. All right. Why? Because, for example, since I was a little baby in my mom's womb, I had all my eggs. All right. So whatever shift that happened with me is going to happen with all my eggs, whether they come forward as a male or a female. All right. So even existence itself is all linked to feminine because we come through the female. All right. So you have been mixed with unnatural DNA, and many of our females, all right, our mothers, have slept with or drank from more than one male or more, and after 4 males, this transforms her DNA. 23. So you all must be retuned now that you have taken on a much larger katat's body stature and weight. All right. I can tell you I'm a tall woman, and I'm definitely taller than 4'5". All right. And it's not just about your immediate mother or that immediate woman. It's about her mother's mother, his mother's mother, just our women in the state of abuse on this planet to the woman as well. So the whole humanity is up for being retuned. All right. So 24, know that the whole musical scale and the whole sonic temperament obeys the same rules of frequency, sound, right reasoning. It is Masak music. Your voice is Masak music. All right. So here are the words that Baabaa uses: temperament. All right. We can go back to our other word. All right. That I saw use different words. Where is that word? Elemental beings. Tawalat. All right. Or tashulat. Tashulat is actually emotions. Tashulat. And then tawalat is frequencies. All right. Now we have temperament. All right. So know that the whole musical scale and whole sonic temperament obeys the same rules of frequency. All right. We talk about the soul being Ba. Soul being a Ba. All right. Ba is the seat of the soul, the emotions, the emotional body. All right. So now you can see music. All right. Or the temperament or the emotions. When aligned, it obeys the frequencies. All right. Sound, right, reason. If it's not, something's off. All right. So now we know how to, we can go tap more into faith, not just faith. Because when you know how things are put together, now you can create the conditions to bring forth exactly what you want. When you don't have all the conditions and you live by faith, well, things just are, and you don't know. Life is just happening to you. All right. I don't know why this is. I don't have sound right reason. I don't know why I feel this way. I don't know why this happened. I don't know why people treat me this way. All right. Well, I don't know why I can't maintain or whatever a decent resonance with anyone. All right. That's because of faith. That's what faith did to us. It disconnected us to the exact conditions. And that's why Akasha Records deals with our conditional records. All right. So what conditions lead to what outcomes? All right. If you don't know, you're gonna just be you're gonna be obeying temperaments, but you're going to be doing it unconsciously. And we're going to go back to conscious. That's why Baabaa says, all right, this is the conscious or awareness. All right. So bring it back to your conscious. So know that the whole musical scale, the whole sonic temperament obeys the same rules of frequency, sound, right, reasoning. It is Masak music. Your voice is Masak music. 26. Your Abab, heart, beats in rhythm. A tempo, or at least it used to. Substances like coffee changes your heart rate. All right. So something as simple and as innocent sounding as coffee. All right. I automatically think of China when I think about that. So when I think of China, I think about within the millennium, the millennials, right? That's people that are like 40 something years old and younger. The millennials made Starbucks very popular in China. Before that, it was a tea culture. It was a tea culture. All right. So then China opened up, and now the millennials mostly drink coffee. They used to come together and go to the tea houses and have tea. All right. Something as simple as that. So you see how, what do you call that? Forgot what you call another word for witchcraft. All right. But you see how things, slight tempering with the people's culture. All right. And introducing coffee. All right. And give you those jingles first thing of waking up, exposures in a cup. So start your day out of rhythm. All right. And now you can be a conduit for opportunistic forces. All right. That's looking for unnatural kinks or what do you call those? When you call glitches in the system. All right. That's how you create glitches. All right. And now you can be, so Baabaa says you have to go back on the in the right frequency for your natural protections. And that's your sound right reasoning. All right. So your Abab heart beats in Rahubat Sakem Ka Ray.
Robert, so what you think about the mushroom coffee that they push in your that?
I like it. I drink it.
Okay, it don't have the
But
same effect as other coffee.
I mean it
But
can because there's all different kinds of coffee. Just
right.
mute it for a second, Jamal, because it
Okay.
makes it good. I'm gonna answer it, you could unmute again, just because it makes a distortion when we're both unmuted. So there's different kind of mushrooms coffees, but they call it coffee. So some of them are mushroom and coffee mixed. I don't really drink that one. And then some of them they just call it coffee because people are used to drinking it to stimulate. But you have mushroom, like they're not all made the same. So you have mushroom alternative where they might just use the reishi and these different kind of mushrooms together, and they'll just call it coffee. All right. So it depends. It depends. But I like them because it's more medicinal and healing to the body, so your body can actually do its job more efficiently. Whereas some other substances step in to substitute what your body should be doing. And some things help your body to do what it does even better. All right. So like Baba had mentioned the power of the reishi mushroom in the holy tablets. All right. And how it helps to tune in your conscious. And also I saw what it does for your skin and youth and all that. So so it's good. Mushrooms are very good. Actually, I'm gonna go buy some mushrooms to cook later to eat because I like to eat mushrooms. All right. So your Bob heart beats and rhythm. Oh, and I want to say that we don't do psychedelic mushrooms, anything that alters our consciousness as far as like you go on a psychedelic trip, take shortcuts. No, we do more medicinal. There's all kinds of different mushrooms that do different things. So ours is more of just, you know, the ones that don't alter. No psychedelic mushrooms. All right. So your voice is Masak music. Your Abab heart beats in rhythm, a tempo, or at least it used to. Substances like coffee changes your heart rate. All right. Coffee is just one example. There's so many. Even candy does it. All right. Certain chemicals do it, certain preservatives, how we treat each other does it too. Some people are just not good for your nervous system. All right. For example. All right. So now you are drugged by bara, food, sharabat, drinks, contact, kafa, fear and fright. All right. So Bible considers that being drugged. You're in an altered state. All right. What's altering our state? Food, he says. The drinks that we're taking in. Contact. All right. It could be people, places, things that you're in contact with. All right. Things that make you afraid. All right. It takes you out of your peace and your calm. So all of this done to untune your body from A, to change your sound, color, size, and weights, to the actual physical and energy structure of your human being, your entire structure. All right. So we're talking about hormones. All right. So the thing is about what has been very helpful to me is just doing breathing exercises, because I was like, how come like I exercise and I eat a certain way and I'm this something is still off. And it's like just taking time to just breathe. All right. Breathing properly. You notice that it tunes you in differently to the same structure. All right. So now you can process information differently. When I say information, I mean everything, even your intakes, like food. All right. Because also you notice that your the rest of your body's in a calm state. All right. Because for example, when you're stressed out and you're eating or something like that, you don't digest the food the same way. All right. You don't think the same way. All right. So when you're in an altered state, it's hard for you to interact with the stimuli around you in a way that's the most optimal. All right. So they untune the body. All right. So they're messing with the hormones. So all of this is done to untune your body from A, to change your sound, color, size, and weight. All right. So sometimes a lot of people, they gain weight when they're very stressed out. All right. I'm not talking about people who lose weight, because some people, when they get stressed out, they don't want to eat anymore, so they lose weight. But for people who their appetite is not affected by stress, so let's just say you don't eat, your eating habits doesn't change, you're typically not going to lose weight. But I know people that when they get stressed out, they can't eat, so I'm not talking about them. But for people who they eat normal when they're stressed out, they will notice that they're gaining weight, but they're eating the same amount of food. All right. Because what's the different, there's different hormones that's present in their body now. That's going to give their body different signals of what to do. All right. So now when you untune the A, all right, you're not going to even process, you're going to gain weight. All right. So to change your sound, color, size, and weight, the actual physical and energy structure of your human being, the entire structure. 29. Now there are 3 ajamats, bones in your finger, 3 parts of your arm, yadad, hand, forearm, and shoulder. Foot, 1 part up to the knee, and then the calf. All right. So 3 is a very important number for the natural being or for the healthy person. All right. Because we can always have exceptions, because there's people who are born abnormal all the time. All right. So they're actually just born out of tune. We're not talking about that. We're talking about people who have their divine design. 3 fingers, it folds that way. You have 3 joints. All right. 1, 2, 3. All right. Your hand, your arm, and then the top part of your arm. Your foot, that's the from your knee, from your foot to your knee, and then all the way from your knee to your hip. All right. So that's 31. In sections of 3, your entire structure was well planned so that you would vibrate on a certain frequency and be in tune with structures and buildings, such as pyramids and the obelisk. All right. So you're in tune with natural nature. You're in tune with the world around you. You're in perfect harmony and design with the very forces that you're going to exist in. All right. You have the exact perfect height for yourself. For example, they have proved out different planets may have different rules, but we're talking about Earth. They have proven that people who are very tall, it's actually not as good for your health to be very tall because your heart actually works harder. All right. So, like people who are like 6 foot, going to 7 foot, 8 foot, all right, they tend to have problems with their health. All right. So there's this being in the right height, the right sound, the right tone, the right color. But as you can see, we're all distorted, most of us, to some shape or form as of right now. All right. So all things vibrate, therefore you also vibrate. The reason for the chanting is for you to be or get back on the right tones with tapalo tapa or natural nature. All right. Tabalo tapa. Tabao taba. All right. So you'll see that there's many ways we say the words. Let me see, what was it? Fatado fata. All right. That's the update. Fatado fata. So fatado fata or tabahal taba. All right. Natural nature, and also to become a clean you inside out and outside in. All right. So why do we chant? Now Baabaa tells us now. Because before, for the longest time, I remember Baabaa telling me to chant. And I remember when Basta was around, I had asked her a question. And I was so annoyed because, like, I guess she couldn't answer my question. So she just went and got me a Om CD. She gave me the Om. And she just said, "Here, listen to this." And I was like, what am I going to do with this? I remember I was so mad, but I took it. And I was like, she didn't answer my question. She just gave me the Om CD. And then I realized now I could appreciate the jewel, because I was like, I don't want all these spooky stuff. And why is Baabaa telling me to chant? You know, like I didn't pray really as a anything else. I mean, I guess I did as a little girl, but then I thought it was silly because I'm like, what are we praying to? So then it was like chanting. What are we chanting to? What's the difference? And I would ask, what's the difference between Wu Sabat and Christianity or anything else? And I didn't really like the way anyone answered my question. All right. So that's why we take time to spookify and get the facts on what we do. All right. So now we know why we chant on this tone. And as we realize that, oh, there's vibration, you realize it's the vibration, all right, that you're tuning in, all right, and where you're pulling from and how you're doing it and where you fit, all right. Now you despookified, all right. And the importance of sitting down sometimes is going, because I guess she was saying, like, just calm down, the answers will come, like it will unfold. But I didn't understand that at the time. Sometimes you have to grow into certain things, all right. So that's why, all right. So the reason for chanting is for you to be or get back on the right tones with tabal taba or fatado fata, natural nature, and also to become a clean you inside out and outside in, from who you exchange fluids with and their past and their 4 generations or relatives. As a people, if you do not wish to chant in unison, and together in harmony, FAC, then that is your choice to remain unaligned. All right. So the reality is sometimes you have to see for yourself. All right. Sometimes it's not some outside entity that's going to give you all the answers. Sometimes you have to align. And it's like, for example, if someone's colorblind, all right, and they go through life colorblind, there's messages written in color all around them that they can't see because they're out of a line. Either they're missing somethings in their genetic code that makes them can't see, so they don't have the right cones to see colors, or they have the cones, but something is unaligned. They have to take time to align it. All right. And then they can once again see, because Baabaa explained that nature is always talking to us. It's always been there. It's us that stopped listening. All right. And then you start to see that this is how you tap in. So Baabaa taps in. And now you see how Baabaa is showing us how to do it ourselves. He's not taking us to a successor, somebody who's just smart, just because they study just like you. All right. And Baabaa, he explained anybody could do that, because I remember I was telling him how smart somebody was. And he was trying to tell me that that's not considered smart just because they know something. He said anybody could sit down and study something and learn it. Not everybody could align and tap in. All right. Not everybody's going to. All right. So it's time for us to clean ourselves inside out, outside in. That's the reason why we chant. All right. To help us heal from the mistakes that we made. All right. Who we let enter our genetics, who entered our parents' genetics. All right. Because some people, they have an arrogance like, well, I'm a virgin, so I'm good. And I never drank Coca-Cola in my life. I never heard a bad song either. I'm just living in a bubble, so I'm good. But the reality is that your mom and dad or somebody, and you healing not just for yourself, you're healing that entire family. That's why we call ourselves the Muklasenia, the purified ones. All right. You become the savior for your family because you realize that it's not just for you. All right. It's everything that you've come in contact. So it's to come clean inside out from who you exchange fluids with in their past and their 4 generations of relatives. As a people, if you do not wish to chant in unison, and together in harmony, FAC, then that is your choice to remain unaligned. 36, you will remain under the control of other beings, humankind and otherwise, who are not on the same vibration as you once were and need to return. All right. So now you leaving yourself at the mercy for outside forces. All right. Who came and may have interrupted your story, whether they be other humans or even non-human entities. All right. And you're at their mercy. All right. So the best instrument to help align you is the one found in India called the harmonium. All right. And I know somebody who ordered the harmonium. All right. I was looking to see. So you can buy that. All right. Harmonium. All right. It is a keyboard that uses wind and not electricity. You pump it with your right hand as you hold the note or keys down with your left hand, or vice versa if you're left-handed. All right. So they have harmoniums that you can custom make, but most of the time you pump it with with your right hand. You'll play it. All right. You'll play it with your left hand. All right. But you can get it customized to do it the opposite way. All right. So that's what's flapping inside and out. And it makes the sound through wind. So it mimics the human body a little. It's easier to follow. So if you ever buy one, all right, you have to get it customized at 300 and 432 hertz, because by default it's going to be on 440 hertz. All right. But some companies, they in small fine print, they said we will customize it for you at 432 if that's what you prefer. I knew somebody who knew how to retune instruments to get it back, but I don't know how they do that. All right. So if you have one at 440, they know how to retune it to be at 432. All right. So that's where the A would be. All right. So you pump it with your right hand and you hold the notes or keys down with your left hand, or vice versa if you're left-handed. That is for perfect sound. All right. So it's not just enough just to chant and memorize. It's about perfecting yourself. All right. There was a book that I wrote from Baabaa. But I never saw it again, but I don't know how I saw it. But the name of the book was called The Perfect Note. The Perfect Note. And I remember I read that book, and that's what made me know somewhat how to chant from that book. Because in the book, Baabaa was at a place and he was playing an instrument. I forgot what instrument he was playing. But all he kept doing was playing the same note over and over and over. People at first were fascinated and they got tired of him. They was like, oh, they went back to doing what they were doing because he's just doing the same thing over and over. And the whole point for him, because he was taking time to perfect that note. All right. And that's what Baabaa has said we weren't doing. Baabaa said that we were, he didn't like the way we chanted. He said we were disrespectful. He said that we sing, we don't chant. Because people going up there, some people, they was going there to showcase. Like, look how good I sound. And you're losing the whole point. That's not what it's about. It's not a performance. All right. It's an alignment. And you're not taking it serious. And you don't even know why you're doing it. All right. So this is for perfect sound. I do feel this will help you all if you will perform together. And now, you now have the keys you've been asking for. All right, so we have the keys. All right, I remember Baabaa, like maybe last year, he said, okay, you guys stop chanting together. Go off and chant by yourselves some more. Because he said, y'all still are not on the right note. All right. And I could tell because sometimes I come together, I don't feel the love. I don't chant in those chanting groups anymore because I felt like I wasn't welcomed. I could feel it. I could feel like, I don't know. I could feel that. I could feel the ego. I don't feel the love. So I don't want my ego to be stimulated. So I go so I could work on my love. All right. On my sincerity. I didn't feel the sincerity. All right. So you now have the keys you've been asking for. It is in fact that once you all chant in the same tone at the same time, or you have a group of people singing together, your heartbeats actually synchronize. All right. Your heartbeats synchronize. So that's why it's good to take time for yourself. Take time by yourself. All right. So you can become real with yourself. Look in the mirror. Do some soul searching. Have a heart to heart with yourself. All right. Because that's the whole purpose, for our hearts to synchronize. All right. Because we want to be on the same rhythm, the same tone. All right. The same breath. All right. So this is a form of guided breathing. And as a choir sings the same notes and exhales and inhales the same, the heart rate is regulated by the breathing. When one exhales, the heart rate slows down. A choir is synchronizing by the melody and rhythm of the song or music they are singing. Then internally, when the breathing, with the breathing and the heart rates, so they're synchronizing their very systems. All right, their breath starts to align, their heartbeat starts to align. They take the breath at the same time. They sing the note, whatever note it is, at the same time. Then they breathe again and they sing together. Then you realize that they're starting to become one body. All right, their bodies is self. Because if you were to take their measurements, you'll notice that they all have the same rhythm at the time when they're singing that song. All right. All right. So now imagine like people could come together all day to do the wrong thing. All right. And people could come together with the intention. So now not only are they synchronizing, but they're all synchronizing with the same agenda, which is to heal. All right. So now you know the importance of where you're singing. And who was that singer? He's coming with his ego. Kendrick, what's his name is? The one who had the performance at the Super Bowl.
Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar. And then he says something about A minor, right? He put that in the song. And then he's using the song to attack Drake, or something like that. Or maybe he is, maybe he's not, but that's what they're turning into. And it's like, is that song a healing song, or is that song going to help to bring more dissension between the people? Now we all in our egos, all right? So we could all be, what is that called? When you put something together, when you make something more extreme.
That separates people because for the simple fact that it causes dissension because there's an ego situation there. I'm better than you and you're better than me.
Right. Mm-hmm. And he acknowledged that he's also affecting the A major. He said A major or A minor, excuse me. He said the whole song is in minor. All right. So yeah, he's that's the whole purpose. But now you're coming together on A for the purpose of healing. All right. You get there faster and more deeply. So a choir is synchronizing by the melody and rhythm of the song or music they are singing. Then internally with the breathing and the heart rate. There was an article posted that speaks about studies researching the effects when a body of people sing together. All right. So that's why I be mindful of your company. All right. And I didn't want to chant with everybody because I'm like, I'm already healing through my own ego. I'm healing through my own intakes, my own whatever, baggage. And then someone else is there and I don't feel welcome. All right. It's going to make that ego bigger because I feel their ego. I don't feel the love. I feel their ego. Now that everybody's in. And that's why Baabaa said another thing, update. He has said don't chant when you're upset because you can't open the doors for 6 ether forces. Now you see why. All right. So now you come with love. You take a moment, you do some breathing exercises. All right. You work through what you're feeling. Then you chant. So you could be chanting in love. And then the person who's listening, they could feel the love. They will respond in love. Now you're both synchronized on this bigger idea of love. But if you're coming with ego and saying, I look better than them, I dress better than them, I'm smarter than them, look at how much better I sound, they're gonna feel that. Now their ego is gonna cause a competition. All right. Y'all both on the same wavelength of destruction. All right. That's why I stopped chanting where I just kind of felt I could feel that sometimes. Not all the time. Some people I do feel that they just want to heal. You can feel that too. All right. So this is the article that Baabaa shared. All right. The choir singer heartbeats as one. The choir singers, their heartbeats as one. All right. That's from the CNN Health. All right. CNN Health. This is an article Baabaa sharing. All right. So we're going to read the article. Singing together can be an emotional experience. As churchgoers, choir singers, or sports fans raise their voices as one, they feel connected. Turns out that connection may have a physical foundation or physiological foundation. A small study suggests people who sing together have synchronized heartbeats. Singers often inhale and exhale at similar times. When your heartbeat is connected to your breathing pattern, it's called respiratory sinus arrhythmia, or RSA. All right. So let's write that down. RSA, that's the actual technical term for it. Respiratory sinus arrhythmia, arrhythmia. All right, arrhythmia, or RSA. RSA can have a soothing effect on the cardiovascular system. For instance, past studies have shown guided breathing, like what's done in yoga, can be beneficial for high blood pressure problems. If this is correct, singing would probably have the same effect, said Bjorn Vikhoff. Bjorn Vikhoff is the person who's sharing his findings. All right. So Bjorn Vikhoff, a professional singer-songwriter turned neuroscientist at the University of Gothenburg in Sweden. All right, so he's a songwriter, and then now he's a neuroscientist. Vikov is fascinated by music's effect on the human body. He hopes to eventually find new ways music can be used in medicine, rehabilitation, and preventative care. His latest study, published this week in the journal, is Frontiers in Psychology. And that focuses on how song structure can affect a singer's heart rate. And this is what the study findings. The study, Vikov and his colleagues gathered 15 healthy 18-year-olds at a high school in Gothenburg. They had a group perform 3 different choral exercises while recording the heart rates of each person. The first exercise was monotone humming, when the participants were told to breathe as needed. For the second exercise, the teens sang a popular Swedish hymn and took breaths whenever. And the third exercise was a slow mantra. The participants were instructed to breathe only between the long phrases. These 3 exercises allowed the researchers to see how coordinated the mantra and uncoordinated humming song phrases affected the participants' heart rhythm while they were singing. The results. The researchers found that each singer's heartbeat was linked to the song's melody. Example, the speed and structure of the music. They also found that when the choir sang together, their heart rates tended to increase and decrease at similar times. As soon as the singing begins, the heart starts following each other, Vikov told CNN in an email. Humming and performing the mantra as a group resulted in more synchronized heart rate variability, or HRV. All right, HRV, another technical term, synchronized heart rate variability, or HRV, than singing the hymn. All right, so we have more synchronized heart rate variatively when we are performing the mantra as opposed to just singing the hymn. The impression is that the heart cannot completely follow the respiration, guided breathing, when it has more complex hierarchical structure, the study authors wrote. All right. So when you go back and read Man from Planet Risk, if you have time, or if you have that book, you see the section where Baabaa is talking about the monks, all right, and what has happened, the infiltration. And now you see that when it's more simple, all right, and we're doing it together, the heart can more synchronize. When you start putting all these complex structures in the song, it's harder for the hearts to synchronize. All right. And that makes sense because Baabaa had told us to stop singing the chants because people were turning into songs. They sounded nice and everything, but that wasn't the point. All right. So the caveats. 4 of the heart rate monitors malfunctioned, so only 11 sets of data were collected and analyzed. All right. So they were meant to put 15 studies, but 4 of them didn't work. So they could only collect data on 11. But from this is what they saw. So that's a very small study sample to make any steadfast conclusion. The study will have to be duplicated with more participants. The researchers did not look at whether the increased HRVA's positive effect on the study participants. Rahubat Sago, I see you unmuted. Sago, Zamal.
Yeah,
All right.
afternoon.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Zamal, I'm
Afternoon.
reading for you.
Afternoon. Greeting.
Oh, greetings. Nice to hear from you. I don't know if there's a delay, but I can hear you now.
Yeah, but I don't understand English fine. My language is French.
Oh, French. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. So welcome. So is there anything that you needed to be explained that you're not understanding, or you wanted to say something?
Okay.
All right. All right. So everybody feel free at any time to unmute if there's something that you like us to go over, maybe because English is not your first language. That's okay, you know. Or even if English is your first language and when you want to expound more on something, feel free, okay? All right. So let's continue to read. All right. And I'll do my best, Zamal Sago, to maybe rephrase something if something you're not understanding. All right. So the researchers did not look at whether the increased HRVA's positive effect on the study participants, and any effect would be temporary, Vikov said. All right. So the researchers aren't seeing whether what's that word called? The synchronized heart rate variability. They're not seeing if it's a positive or a negative effect. They're not looking at the study for that purpose, he's saying. But he's just saying that he's looking at the study just to see that it's happening. Whether it's a positive thing, that's not what the study was for. All right. And then also it's to note that Vikov said that the effect is only temporary because after the song is done, typically the people's hearts will go back to whatever their focus was. But while they're together, all right, it's just going to be a temporary effect. All right. So we do have the ambition to map the body responses to music and make medical applications, he said. But we need to test this rigorously as new drugs are tested. All right. So the study confirmed that you can control or to link the people. All right. If you could link the people, that means you could control the people. All right. For whatever it is you want to control them for, whether you want to administer medicine or whatever the case is. And he said he wants to use it. But it's just one study, it's just a small sample, and it needs more time. All right. It needs more time. It needs to be done over and over because you can't make such a claim. All right, just from one study. All right. So a thrilling theory. Vikov likes to go beyond what his study analyzed to talk about the possible implications for this kind of music body connection. David Huron, the cognitive museologist, has suggested that music promotes bonding and thus strengthens groups, which would have a survival value, he said. All right. So cognitive means like conscious, and so he has something to do with the conscious museologist. Museologist means that a musicologist is somebody who specializes in music. So music consciousness. All right. So that's what he specializes in, Darren Huron. And he says that when we have music, it promotes the bonding of that group, which will strengthen the value, the survival value. All right. And it makes me think about when soldiers will go off to war for Caucasians, they would send music. Like they would send boys alongside them to play music. All right. So even at war, they actually sent like little drummers and people with flutes to go to war. All right. With the soldiers. I learned that in school. All right. So ultimately, the knowledge that singing coordinates hearts is mind blowing. If we, for instance, started singing a slow hymn together in church, we now know that the hearts in the hall are coordinated. And the thrilling question is, how does this affect us? The study author notes that breathing together, whether it's through meditation or meditating, praying, or singing, is done in most religions. All right. So he also notes that take note how religions, they all have their prayers chanting, all right, or meditating together. And this is a reason why. 47, all right, 47. So it has also been proven and documented through studies that there is a synchronicity of heartbeats when groups of people chant, sing, or hum together, becoming one. In fact, when exposed to a very small electrical charge, as your bodies make on A major, it absorbs the natural nature energy and stores it. It acts like a capacitor and an energy storage device, a superconductor, conducting information into information instantly from beyond this dimension or into this Wahoo Makwan universe, mental to mind to mind, mental to mind to mind. All right. So that's what you see is depicted in this picture. Bob is tapping into the omniverse. All right. Bringing it into his one universe. All right. Tapping it from information is becoming information. Now he can output that to us. All right. He's showing you how you can do it. All right. So it's been proven and documented through studies that there's a synchronicity of heartbeats when a group of people chant, sing, or hum together, becoming one. In fact, when exposed to a very small electrical charge, as your body makes on A major, it absorbs the natural nature energy and stores it. All right. So you become a capacitor, a conduit. So now this energy, which is freely happening all around us, when you tune yourself up on A major, he's saying that information will just start flowing through you. You become a superconductor. So it acts like a capacitor, an energy storage device. All right. You could take that energy to store for later, to use as needed, right? A superconductor, conducting information into information instantly from beyond this dimension or into this Wahoo Makwan universe, mental to mind to mind. So when exposed to these minute amounts of energy, it responds in such a way that it actually floats. Yes, Munbatu golden children can float or hover as a craft. All right. So now we're going to eventually, again, we're going to read Mafkuza Elixir Life, where Baabaa breaks down, all right, that the human body also being a craft. All right. So this is also being referred to as a craft, the Teti symbol. And then he shows craft too. All right. So a lot of people, while they're looking for this artificial craft to come get them, the Anunnaki, and they're neglecting their own crafts, because crafts are just vehicles that are used to move energy from one point to another. All right. So golden children themselves are crafts themselves. All right. So when exposed to these minute amounts of energy, it responds in such a way that it actually floats. Yes, Munbatu golden children can float or hover as crafts. 54. For those who have traveled with me through the many schools of thought, you have experienced this in various chants and circles that we have had. Those pure souls unified would have the power to raise the people literally from the floor. All right. So when Baabaa is out, he said that some of them experienced that. All right. When Baaba's in, according to the updates and according to what I experience, we're not experiencing that. All right. There's no love. That's why. All right. So the pure souls unified will have the power to raise the people literally from the floor. All right. So if you know how to chant, help your sister or brother to chant. All right. Don't just get up there because you think you're better than somebody. All right. Because you actually close that conduit. Because it's not about you, it's about the energy. All right. And you allow yourself to be a conduit that energy can flow through. So it's not about you, it's about us. All right. So 56, you should record the tones so you can loop the sound in your homes or temple. All right. So do we actually do that? Do we chant like that? Do we record a looping tone? He said on the you could he gives the instructions on how to do it, where you can loop the note of A, for example, and it can just play. So it helps everybody to stay on that tone. All right. That way the sound does not end and you all become part with it. Then record the human voices on the same keys or notes and blend them and mix them as one. The way when you all gather to Ranum chants, you have the correct tones always playing behind you to keep everyone on key. All males on bass clef. That would be the notes of FAC, and all females on treble clef, FAC. All right. So we're saying the males will be on the deeper side. All right. That's when, so obviously if he's saying FAC, then we're chanting in harmony by this time. All right. And children under the age 9 also on treble C on the note of A. All right. So now we're opening gateways. So now we're chanting in harmony. Some people are chanting on A, some are chanting on F, some are chanting on C. Some are chanting on C. All right. So FAC. That's called a harmony. And then some women on that side, some men on that side. All right. And then the children, they're all chant on A. All right. And hopefully you've taken time to channel A for yourself and you've connected to that inner child in yourself. That's what chanting on A does. Helps you to connect to your inner child. That's where the healing happens, in your inner child. All right. That's why Bible says think of yourself as a child of Paa Taraq. All right. So you take time, all right, with your childhood and giving yourself all the things that you needed as you raise yourself. All right. And then when we come together, all right, we've already done that. When we've come together, I've already soul searched. Now we come together. You've done it. She's done it. He's done it. Now we come together and now we can harmonize. All right. Some people think that I'm going to just stick with this person. Like everybody else did it, so I'm just going to come and blend in. You're not going to blend in. You're going to throw everybody else off. All right. So you take the time to do what you need to do. She does that. She does what she needs to do. He does it. We come together. All right. Now we all can harmonize. All right. So the music scale for both treble and bass clef. All right. So that's the treble clef and that's the bass clef. All right. So you have hum, or you hum, that's money. So you hum, om, amun, whichever you decide. All right. So you just take time. Sometimes I do that. I just told and it looks like this. And I just do that. And I just did that a lot. And I struggled with it at first, but now I can hear the note. And I feel myself calming down. I just respond to it. All right. So you must hold and cycle or hold this tone. Each person starts one after the other, so there is no break in sound. All right. So that'd be a great thing that we could do as a collective, we sit in a circle or something like that. And I go. Then the next person goes and they go. And then there's never a break in sound because by the time I'm finishing, the next person is starting. All right. So each person starts one after the other, so there's no break in sound. That way the sound itself is continuous and all are able to breathe without there being a break or seizing of the tone. And with your tone, end your tones with Anun, Atum, Atum, Amun. Wake up, I Karadu, my children, for now it is time to attune to your 24,000 genomes, 24 hours a day, 24,000 years by cycle. All right. And then if you were to look at a keyboard, he said, focus on staying on the white keys than the black keys. Because if you go on the black keys, you're going to go sharp or you're going to go flat or you're going to go sharp. You want to stay major. All right. So you could heal. And now we can see each key on the keyboard represents a note on the musical scale. The black keys play a note that is lower, flat, or B in pitch to the key on the left. And the higher or sharp plays a key that is higher pitch. All right. So you want to be on perfect pitch. And a lot of the time we're pitchy. I know I still get a little pitchy, but it's improving. All right. So sometimes people are like, oh, you sound a little flat. All right. And then you learn to hear the sound the same way you learn to see the colors. Because a lot of times we've been ignoring the facts. So now all the colors kind of blend into each other. And you learn to distinguish each color from each other. You learn to distinguish the sound from each other. And you're more mindful. All right. And you start to tune up your ears. And then you start to learn how to respond. All right. Because there's some people that they mean well, but when they talk, I just cringe. Like, I had to be honest. Some people, their tones are just the wrong tones. And they don't get the effect that they want. So this is the way that you can start to heal your tones, because the same way that you're affected, you can affect. And it's not the response isn't random anymore. All right. And then another thing that's helpful as well is when you're looking in the mirror and then you go, Amun, or whatever tone you make, you look at the back of your throat and then you see that thing that hangs on the back of your throat. I forgot what it's called. And you'll notice that a lot of the times when people are like untuned to their emotions in some way or stressed out, it tends to lean on one side. All right, which can cause health problems. So chanting, and it helps to bring everything back center. All right. And even because you can see that those little muscles in your body, the glands, all right, everything needs to come back to its resting state so the healing and everything can flow better. All right. So that's what chanting has been helpful. All right. So we're going to end this scroll with a chant that Baabaa has wrote for us. All right. So it says, "Oh Nataru, please listen for me." All right. Please listen for me. Let's read it in English first. "Oh Nataru, please listen for me. Oh Nataru, please listen for me. I am you all's children. Hear me. Oh Nataru, please accept me. I call my ancestors for help. Oh Nataru, guard me by way of all things from the evil one. All right. So guard me by way of all things from the evil one. All right. There's so many ways. All right. Because the path to healing is actually narrow. There's so many ways to destroy yourself. Maybe that's not your choice. Maybe that's over there. It's not your poison of choice, but that is. All right. This person, they have a problem with in this way. All right. You have a problem in that way. And there's so many things. All right. So now we're going to ask for to be protected away from all the evil things. And evil can take so many different ways that we could be self-destructive. All right. There's so many forms that it could come in. All right. So we're asking for Nadaru to help to guard us and guide us. So we can chant this. Ya ye Nadaru satat asmulini. You know, I'm gonna do it with the updates. All right. So let's read it first in our language. It says, Ya ye Nadaru satat asmul lahe nea. Anuki karat kum asmoy ni. Yaye nataru satat akbulni. Akbul. So accept has been updated. So let's update that too. Afukni. All right. So akbul, you can also say afukni. Nakuk, nuk or nakuk. All right. So nuk is like to shorten nakuk. That's the same word. Nuk nador salafuni nasar. I call my ancestors for help. So when you say salafu, all right, you're saying ancestor as a idea. All right. When you say muslafu, you're saying the ones who were ancestors. Because when you say mu, you're making it a person. All right. So you can just leave it as salafuni nasar. I call my ancestors for help. Yaye nataru ahfuzni bi kalal, guard me. Afutni. All right. So afutni. Afutni, guard me by way. Shayayat mananu pa mudradu. Mudradu. So I did this chant a while ago. So let's just try it together. All right. If you do the old words or the new words, we'll just say it to yourself. Ya ye nataru satat asmu lahe neya. Anuki kararkum asmoini. Ya ye nataru afukniya. Nakuk nador salafuni nasar. Ya ye nataru afutni bi kalal. Shayayat mananu pa mujwadu. All right. And then you just breathe. All right. So now that we have the guidance from how to breathe, chant together, do mantras together, the importance of taking that moment to breathe, guided breathing. So when you're chanting with each other, all right, and you're being mindful of each other, then you learn to cue each other. All right. So you give a moment for the group to take a breath together and do the next line. And then you'll notice that our hearts will start to align. All right. So that's why I chant that way. All right. Because it's predictable. And the body likes what's predictable because it can get onto that rhythm. So you keep it predictable. So that's the logical place to take the breath. And the body, the glands and everything, it becomes soothed because it becomes a predictable type of pattern. All right. That's why the body tends to like patterns and patterns in sound. All right. So We could try one more time, and then we're gonna read Baaba's notes. All right. Yaye nataru satat asmo lahe neya. Anuki karar kum asmo neya. Yaye nataru satut akbo neya. Nakok nador salafoni lahe neya. Nasar. Yaye nataru afutni bi kalal. Shayayat mananu pa mujwadu. All right. So that's what we're striving for. And even if I didn't do it perfectly, which I didn't, your body can kind of pick up on what I'm trying to do, and your body will respond. All right. Because you can just feel that same calm rhythm. All right. And pattern. All right. And then it's that same note, and we just ride that wave. All right. So this is Baaba's note. Nuk rahul manan kum karir panan. I depart from you all with this. Wahu. Aruf kum salafu. Know you all's ancestors. Atu. Akluj laye and kum salafu. Link towards you all's ancestors. Talu. Aksoy kum salafu. Respect you all's ancestors. Rabu. Andoy kum salafu. Call on you all's ancestors. Kamu. Atroy kum salafu. Exalt you all's ancestors. Satu. Anuk bi and kum salafu. Live by way of you all's ancestors. Sabu. Akoy kum salafu. Remember you all's ancestors. Tamu. Ashuk kawun li and kum salafu. Divine love. Divine love is for you all's ancestors. Tasu. Asyoy muslafuun. Become one who is an ancestor. Pa nabab em. Pa nadaru. The master of the overseers. All right. Or the master of natural nature. All right. Take time to master yourself. All right. Because Baaba shares with us at a later time. We're going to start reading together more master secrets. All right. You go to the realm of the masters, which is darkness. All right. And that door is inward. All right. So those are the words from Baabaa Yaanun, as you remember to remember. All right. Pa Baabaa Yaanun. Kawun Yatoy Tarukum. All right. The master teacher is coming your way. Ashuk. Ashuk. All right. And that concludes our scroll for today. All right. So, does anybody have anything they like to say about the scroll? Or what do you walk away? What jewels do you take from this scroll today? And feel free to share it. All right. I'm thinking about calling on people. Usually I don't do that, but for this scroll, I feel like I want to call on people to see what jewel you took from this scroll, or if you took any. All right. So I'm going to start with my beloved. Okay.
Robert,
I was going to call on you. I was going to say my beloved Zamal Kamem still.
are you sure?
I was.
Rahabat Moisa. Yeah, yet again, another good scroll, you know. What I got from it was that we need to be a bit more unified, me included, you know, and get our tones right, the language which I need to work on, you know. But yeah, it was especially the musical notes, very important, you know. And I have to try and keep on the note A, you know. And I just said the F is the planet, C, and then you got the Schumann's resonance coming to it that trying to throw you off. But yeah, I'm doing my best to vibrate on the note A, you know. But yes, that's what I got from it, unity. Everybody become as one, you know. Yeah, that's what I got from it. So thank you very much for the read. Tower tap.
Tower Tap for sharing that. That's what I got from the reading too. All right, Zamata Anuba.
Rollback. You know what was very interesting to me that I didn't even know that when we all chant together, we breathe and our heart beats at the same time. I didn't know that. So I'm like, okay, I do need to, like how you said that you was like all this spookism and I don't need to do all that. I had that same little thing at the beginning, but now I learned the chants and I know the chants, but I need to do it more and more and more so I can get myself in tune because I didn't. And then when you said our bodies is the ship, I'm like, you know what? That makes so much sense because we can take ourselves where we need to go. We just have to do the work. So I took a lot from this.
Tower Hat. I like how you brought up the spookism because for me, I was just like, what's the difference between what Christians do and why I gotta do that? Even with Baba saying, here's some chants because Baba had even sent me my own chant. And I looked at it, I was like, okay, cool. What's the part of this letter I want to read? I gotta be honest. I mean, not that I didn't want to read that one, but I couldn't appreciate it. You know, as a jewel I had to grow into. And for years, I just ignored that because it was spooky to me. I needed more tangible facts. And actually, this scroll actually helped me to align with that, so I know what I'm doing. And I mean, a lot of us have been doing things subconsciously, and now we have the science back behind it, you know, and we could hold on to ourselves and not lose ourselves. Because I remember Baba asked, "Can they sing? Can they still sing?" I forgot where I read that. It was in one of his books, but it was like, can they sing? Because then you notice that in Africa they have call and response, and by the response you wonder, what are those people hearing? You know, what are they hearing if it's off? You know, so it's like nature has a call and response too, and this is how the people are responding. Do they even still have a soul? You know, can they still feel it? And a lot of times nature is given a broadcast all the time. And what you see physically is actually a response to that broadcast. And if that response is off, then that either means that work needs to be done or maybe it's time for that being to go bye-bye, you know. So I realize that it's not spooky, it's existence itself, you know. Let's see, who else wants to get called on today? I'm gonna call on maybe two more people about jewels that you got from the scroll. I'm gonna call on my Zamal Sakem Kare. Sakem Kare.
Why me? Why did you call on me? All right. I don't know, Lintet. What I get from this, I have it. I read it a few times. It's like we ain't gonna be able to get perfected like we talked about years ago till we out of this country. I mean, the psychic self defense is important, but you know, I don't know, Lintet. It's just it's really rough, you know, especially what I went through in that hospital. You know, I'm still recovering from that. March 6th will be 4 months home, so I'm still fighting that petty little body structure. So just take it one day at a time and do our best and appreciate that the master teacher is still here, you know, with us. You know, appreciate him.
Right, Zamal. I appreciate you sharing that. So what I take away from what you say is that you feel overwhelmed, all the ways of that there you could be pulled this way and that way, and you just feel overwhelmed. Um, but there's a hidden message in that as well, of just doing what is in your control to do. Because I also can hear Baba's response in a way of him saying that, like how we have pickups. And like, for example, let's say our final destination is in risk. We stop multiple places to get clean a little bit more, clean a little bit more. So, for example, if you want to make it to the next destination, you have to do what you can with where you are at the moment. Then you qualify to go to the next destination. You could clean yourself up just a little bit more. So, like the next stop would be Mars. Some people that might be as much as they could clean up, and then they just stay there. But they made it enough to get transported out of Earth. I'm just using places as an example. So you start off being moved out of America. You go to a cleaner part of the planet, but the planet itself you need to clean from. Then you go to Mars, you go clean up a little bit more. You go to the next stop, clean up a little bit more. So a lot of the time you realize that it's a process, and to respect your process. And sometimes it makes you appreciate the bigger picture so much more. So if we all did what is in our power to do, that'd be good. Yes, Zamal.
I appreciate that. Yes, I'm very overwhelmed, but I'm strong enough to overcome it all. Still got that little. I'm not gonna let this. What I went through in that hospital, stuff that you'll be amazed that they was just doing to my body in there. But I'm all right. I'm getting better. My skin getting better, and just taking it one day at a time. Like you said, do what I could do in my control to do, and the rest, I just gotta not let that overwhelm me as well.
Right, right. So you can pick things like your company, all right? There's some people that hold you back on your healing because Bobby explained another scroll that you have people on a healing path, and then there's those forces that come to distract you. And the powerful thing is that you have the ability to gravitate and pull. Like sometimes, okay, in your immediate environment, you may have things that are helpful and things that are hindrance in that immediate environment. And you could assess yourself to see what are you more attracted to? Are you more attracted to the things that are healing you in your immediate, or are you attracted to things that are hindering you? All right. So you can go and gravitate to that. And the next thing you know, you got out that room. All right. And then next thing you know, you got out that building. Then you got off of that street. And then you realize that, wow, I've come a long way. And it's like, even if I assess myself, if people want to go back to, see my own journey, all right, that it might not be something that, if you're sensitive enough, you'll see a growth. And then you'll see, like, I had a chanting group before I did this one. I didn't know how to chant. I didn't make the chanting group because I was the perfect chanter. I created a chanting group because I wanted to learn how to chant. And it was rough. My first chance, it was not good. People joined anyway, and we were just figuring this out together. And my breathing improved, my how I carried myself, the sound of my voice. And sometimes I would be chanting and I would get frustrated and I just don't want to chant anymore. And then I was just like, I'll forget it. And then later on, it was like maybe a year later, I'm like, actually, I do like the way I sound. I like the way I feel. So it's like sometimes you might feel overwhelmed on a journey, but your sincerity gets you to where you need to be. And as sincere as you are, you realize that you've overcome more than you realized. And sometimes it's so subtle, the little things that you overcome, that you don't credit yourself for that, or you don't credit that healing. But it's those little things, it's all part of the journey. So yes, I think we could all relate to you, Zamal, of feeling overwhelmed. And I could relate to, I definitely could relate to it. I'm very grateful that you shared, that your journey with us of feeling overwhelmed. All right. Um, But just stay in good company with those who remind you, all right, to have that compassion for each other, because then you realize you're having that same compassion for yourself, all right, and you deserve that. Rahubat, Sen Amun, Zamal.
Rahubat, Zamaltat. What I've learned about this reading was how important it is to get your tones corrected. When you shared that information about when the master teacher said separate because your tones aren't together, come back together when you know, when you explain when we had our tones corrected or better, then we could come back together in harmony. And that really made me think about how important it is to, you know, be in right tones or unity to get in harmony. And that made me think about the language as well, because that's what we're working on now, to say the correct tones and get the right vibrations so we can be in unity, so we can speak in harmony, so that resonance can, you know, frequency can, you know, be better together, so we can, you know, vibrate on that correct frequency. And my question is, I know the master teacher said learning this or language will help free him. And I was wondering, well, what about the language or the chants? How would that actually free him? And by listening to, you know, this reading, it gave me more insight. And there's many degrees of information in this reading. Also, vibrating on F with the planet Earth, you explained that, and how our body is on A, and C, how to, you know, how important that is connecting with our ancestors. So it's so much, and I really appreciate this reading, and it helps me appreciate, you know, all the things the master teacher has given us to help heal us and bring us together. It's so important. So much. Appreciate that. I just wanted to share that. Double tap, small tap. Family. Yeah.
Tower attack to you as well, because I had the same questions, and sitting down and being real with the scroll. Those questions were answered, like how would chant free him? And then when you say, well, unity is key, then you see the importance of breathing and chanting together and how it actually does unify the people. And when I think about everything as a people that we have overcame, like I was thinking about that song, lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. And as I was like listening to the whole song, I was like, wow, that is the song of Sabians. And also The People Could Fly. That's another book written by Virginia Hamilton. It was a children's story. And it talked about, it was the tones that saved the people, because those tones was spoken. And the people who had that, there was the people who could fly, and there's people who couldn't fly. But the people who could fly, when they heard those tones, they actually leaped and they flew to the next dimension, you know? And then you realize that we've been telling the same story time and time again, and starting the day, you know? And I'm thinking, like, as a child, when I went into certain schools, I went to a lot of different schools as a child. But I remember, like, there was this one school, and the songs that they sang, it put you in a certain mindset where you actually learn differently, right? And there's less fights and everything that's going on. I'm like, I think it was the songs, because you were saying songs to reaffirm yourself, your pride in yourself, your appreciation in yourself. the appreciation of each other. And, you know, it was songs about children, like, I believe the children are future. And hearing that as a child, you know, you just take your childhood for granted, but it made you feel like you were important, you know, and you realize that we've had that, and that it actually kept us here this far. And so there's a concentrated effort to get that anything that's connecting us on that vibration. There's a concentrated effort, all right. And the music has been weaponized, and you don't, like Baba has said, that's another reason why a lot of these singers were killed, all right. And then they brought in these new singers, all right, to help to untune us even more, because the music naturally makes you want to achieve more, and it makes you care, all right. When we had love ballads and things like that, our relationships were lasting a little longer than it does today, when the songs today is about go out and get money, all right. So you just cleaning your house, your mom's cleaning the house and she's cooking or whoever, and you hear the beautiful music, you know, and then you guys end up kind of singing it together. But the songs nowadays, you don't want to sing that with your mom or with your daughter or your son, you know. So you see that there's a disconnect, that we can't even sing the same songs together because it's inappropriate, and that divided the people. So everything that you say, we could see it playing out. Yeah. All right. So there's one more person I'm gonna call on. But everybody else could unmute. I saw Zamal tap Paulette unmute just now. So I'm gonna call on Zamal tap Paulette Campbell Bailey. I saw you unmute.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Yes, welcome back. Welcome back. Oh my gosh, I'm sort of stuffy because of the flu. I'm very, very stuffy. Now, what I want to say, I came in a little bit later. I wasn't there from beginning, but what I got from the presentation was the benefits to the body, the the entire body, the benefit of synchrony. You have to synchronize the tones. They have to be captured, or they have to be um they have to be captured within a certain range, correctly, I would say correctly placed, or correctly, oh,
I think we lost you, Zamal tap. Yeah. Oh, you're unmuted. I mean, can you unmute again? I think we lost you.
oh my gosh, I didn't even realize. I'm so sorry about that.
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry about it.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm saying that the synchronization, capturing or gaining synchronization with the tones is very beneficial. That is when synchronization of the vibrations or the frequency, when that is achieved, synchronization is achieved, then what it does, it have the beneficial effect of regulating the heartbeat, regulating certain, oh my gosh, I'd say biofeedback. I may
Right.
not be experiencing, I may not be, let me say, I may not be expressing it the way I want to. Do I want to bring it across? I'm trying to say it has to do with the beneficial effect of tones when you can achieve certain frequency or vibrations within a certain I'd say beneficial range, so that you can have
Like on the body, the
unity.
biological effects, right?
Yes, 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 yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, absolutely. That's what I captured while you were doing the presentation. And I have to say, um, I'm a cardiac, cardiac specialist. I am a cardiac specialist. And I could understand the, I could understand while you were reading, and that was the moment when I actually came in quite late, when you were talking about the dysrhythmia or arrhythmia and the variation in the heartbeat and so forth. So I clearly understood that. Clearly understood that. Um, but yes, I actually have a bit, just a little bit of understanding of the benefits of tones and the frequencies achieved within a certain range, and how biologically beneficial or physiologically beneficial it can be to the human body. Yes. Um,
Right.
I have to I hope you can hear me or understand me clearly. Um, maybe I'm not very clear. If you can hear me,
Yeah, you
I'm
definitely,
very clear.
definitely you are very clear, and
Okay.
you, you said it so, uh, so graciously. Like you captured even more dimension to me than like you gave this scroll even more dimension. The way that you put the words that you chose to use and how you made it come full circle. So yes, I think it was very clear.
Yes, it has to do a lot with what you say, synchrony and
Yes,
synchronizing tones to bring them in harmony to have desired effect.
right. And
Yes,
another key, the words that you're using, like harmony, Baba also explained as it is to hormones. The
yes,
right
to
harmony could
harmonize.
secrete the right hormones. And you know
Yes.
that hormones has to do with the glands. So you can help to re-regulate and
Mm,
you can heal the glands, you know. So
okay. Yes, and
yeah,
that's why I said that the biological or physiological effect on the body. I'm sorry, I had a stroke recently. Recently had a stroke, and it has affected my speech a bit. However, what I was trying to bring across to you is harmonization of the tones and the effect of that harmonization of the
Can I
particular
put some up in this
tone
gun?
that we are. So that's what I'm talking about. So it's very beneficial to attain that level so that you can have harmony. When things are in harmoniously achieved, you can have, it's like unity. Harmonizing and harmony is a unifying force that brings them together. Yes. So that's what I got from your presentation. And it was good. It was a good one. Good
mm.
presentation.
Tower
Yes.
has them all tapped for sharing that. Those are
Uh,
jewels you
uh,
shared.
Thank you.
I see Jamal,
what I would
Hanif,
like to
Rahubat.
share is the harmonizing that he's talking about is when we
Mhm.
so that we.
I'm sorry, Zamal, you're glitching some reason. Your words, you're only like one or two words could be heard when you're talking. You might want to leave and come back.
When we open up the energy centers and we get harmony and using the tuning fork, using the harmonia, when we learn to balance our inner energy on all of our chakras, the 9 chakras that we use in Wu Sabat, what it does is it keeps us in tune with natural nature. That's the sole purpose of it. That way, when we open up our internal centers, telepathy, psychometry, all of the talents that we are gifted with, the 4 higher talents, then those talents can present themselves so that we can open our vibratory gland. And it also works on when the Natharu, it leaves a temple for the Natharu to step into. When the Natharu come to us and speak to us, we have to be cleansed inside out and have no egos or have anything that causes problems on the human level, on the 1, 2, 3 level, shall I say. With that, I rest.
Oh, Tower had Zamal. That made a very good point about that when you think of your body as a temple, you're cleaning out the temple so that the forces of natural ether has a place to set. And I remember Baabaa saying, in other words, of it's time to receive these full light beings. All right. However, if you haven't taken the time to raise yourself to that standard, when you get that full light being, if it was to incarnate in you, you might
The Etherian state.
say it again.
The Etherian state. Back to the Etherian state.
Yes. And even in the physical side, I mean, when you're getting these downloads, let's just say, and you're tapping into the full light beings, right? Like how Baabaa has a full light being. And he said in time, some of us will get them. That if you haven't taken the time to heal up and tune yourself up, it would actually destroy your body. All right. So it's like you want to raise yourself, your physical body. Yes, Samal? You want to raise your physical body to be able to match. All right. So as we're ascending, they descend down. You want to be able to match that energy. So by cleaning yourself up, all right, and that's what these tones help to do. It helps to re-regulate our bodies. And as far as our glands go, the seats, Bobby explained the natural ether energy, that our chakras are actually in our glands. All right. And those glands have to be healed. All right. So, and now you hear hormone and you see the effect that rhythm, all right, breathing and music can have on the actual glands, as these doctors are doing research on it. So,
Also, the Pan the goat, the one that blows the little flute when they be talking about. You like when you got the hardcore rap music and some of the music that's crazy out here in the world. Those are the tones that we have to protect ourselves from. So the whispering tones, and hear our true voice, shall I say?
right, yeah, because we could synchronize on damaging forces, or we can synchronize on healing forces. And now we all sick, right? So we want to be around and in good company. And what Zamaltep Paulette was saying, because she specialized in, you said cardiology, I think, and how I heard a lot of jewels that I feel like the brother Sakem Kare could walk away from, that you being in good company. All right. So when somebody has taken time to heal themselves, hearing their tones can be healing to you. All right. Because what it does to heal your physical body, and we can be affected and we can affect. So when we need that help, we gravitate to the healing forces. All right. And we learn to recognize them. And then we learn to also tune ourselves up. And it's not just for our immediate healing. It's for our collective healing, because when you've taken time to heal yourself, then you actually become healing. You become we create an environment where healing is taking place. And that's the environment we have to create for ourselves and each other once again. All right. So I'm gonna open the floor to anybody else who like to share any other jewels that they take away from the scroll, or either a jewel that they remember that they can just share with the group that relates to what we read today as well. Zamaltat, Rahubat Rempet, Shapses Amuntet. I saw you on mute.
Rahubat,
Rahubat.
Musar. So, what I got when you were reading, this what stood out to me was the need for us to come together. So I do understand that, we each have to start on A, right, on the key of A, and then as we come together, we do C. Right, F is the planet Earth, C is the cosmos. Anyway, so we start on A, and what came to me is that when we and I remember this also, even before we had the scroll, our tones wavelength A, I recall as we chanted together, it was a natural synchronization that happened. This is when we were chanting in Georgia many years ago. And so it's important for us to come together physically and chant together and help each other perfect A. So then as we're doing that, then we naturally flow into harmonizing with each other. And I remember also when we were in Athens, like we used to go to the building there and chant, and some of us were using the microphone, and there was a message relayed from Baabaa for us to stop using the microphone because it's distorting the tones. And the rationale to me is that since the microphone distorts the tones, so do these devices.
Right.
So it's important for us to come together physically off of these devices and chant, as that will help us help ourselves and each other. That was it.
Yes, definitely. There's this distortion because sometimes like I'm even speaking and then I hear like the computer do a glitch, like and it sounds like that's in my voice. And there's different interferences, and that creates like a barrier. All right, and we're already having to get past this illusion of separation, because the reality, our sacred symbol is Pawut. All right, and Pawut, we remember that I am a part of the all expanding is part of me. So now you start to have an appreciation for the collective body, and you see yourself as a building block. All right, you see yourself as one of the many building blocks to a greater reality. All right, and it helps us to not have issues with each other, or even if we have issues, like maybe this block and that block are really not meant to be side by side, but it's perfect in the all. And when everybody plays their part, we appreciate our similarities and our differences. That's called harmony. All right. But you can't have harmony before you have unity, because unity means the same. So you've taken that time to unify. All right. And you learn to see the humanity of each other. All right. Because the human is A. So you see your humanity. And then when you start to have harmony, you start to respect the differences and the different roles that everybody plays. All right. And so, so even though it's different, because that's over there and I'm over here, all right, the illusion of it being separate, that's an illusion. All right. Even though it's there and here, it's still part of the one collective body, if you can remember. All right. Or to remain a member of Ray, as Baabaa had put it. So as members of Ray, all right, whether this part is fast and that part slow, and it's supposed to be here and that's supposed to be there, but we both have appreciation for the whole thing. All right. And that makes us respect the harmonies. All right. From all the different movements of life, and the differences, the oppositions, even the oppositions become beautiful. All right.
Shook.
Because it's like, oh, there's a time
I
for you
shook.
speaking.
I said I shook.
Yes. Yes. That takes us to Ashuk, Tawhead. I saw Zamal Sen Amun Hotep.
Yeah, toe tap. It was just this also made me think about a class that the master teacher had a while back when he was saying that our ancestors upon the thought when they come down to a certain this rate of vibration, they have to, they have to see our light, and I know how the tones and the vibration gives off certain colors. And it also, like you say, it helps us raise our vibration. And it just makes you feel so good when, after we chant, how you just feel good inside and happy. And whatever negative vibration or thought that you have, it just seems like it diminishes it. And it just made me think about how, it also, the tones give off certain colors. And that also helps our ancestors, see us so they can, when it's time for us to, for them to come get us, they'll be able to see us because, it gives us a certain light and they have to see our light too. I don't know if anybody else remember that class, but that's what I got out of it too. I just wanted to share that. Thank
Mm. No, Tawahep. And I vaguely remember that class. But it's also reiterated in many of the different scrolls because light and sound is actually the same. As far as like you have the chromatic wheel, which measures sound, all right? And then you have the chromatic wheel that measures colors, and you realize that they're identical, all right? So
The
how,
frequency.
I said again?
Frequencies. When we open our chakras, there are different tones of frequency that resonate with those each seat that we open.
Right, right. All right. I saw Zamaltat Paulette. And then we're going to take a few more comments about the scroll. I'm very happy about the scroll because it seems like it really is what we needed, and we are all sparked. Anybody else that wanted anything to say about the scroll that you wanted to share? A jewel, even from
Yeah.
outside the scroll. Anybody else who didn't get a chance to say anything yet?
One
Yes,
one last thing.
Yes.
The tone of A is when a child is born and a baby says, ah, that's a sound of a child being born because that's sound of A. When FAC, A representing the body also of the earth, that sound A, ah.
Yes. Yes. All right. Anybody else that they take away from the scroll that you wanted to share, like a jewel that it opened up for you, or something in general you like to share to the platform too? Feel free. If not, that's all right too. And I hope that we are pulled more into our heart space. There's a lot of things that we're healing past. And we need to have at least one working heart chamber to get out of here. We start off with 4. All right. So you're mending your heart, and you're going to notice when you say, open the way to the soul of Yanun, open the door towards him, you realize you're talking about your heart space. You realize you're talking about your chest and just your ability to breathe freely and breathe easily. All right. So it's important for you to be in company, all right, of those who you can breathe freely with. All right. It's healthy to breathe together. All right. Because that's healing to your nervous system. And when you're healing your nervous system, you're healing your heart seat. All right. And that's what meditating helps to do. Chanting helps to do. All right. We're actually going back to relax and heal the nervous system. And when you talk about the nervous system, thinking about your spine, all right, and you see how the Hindus show the seats going up and down the spine. Well, we realize that that's not the actual seats. That's the highway. The seats are the glands, all right? So we're healing the glands and the highway and everything about ourselves and rounding ourselves out. And you realize that you're in the school of Ashuk, all right? And the school of Ashuk is the school of healing. So that's where we are right now. So I appreciate everyone who's healing through something, whatever it is. If you're honest with yourself, that's what you're doing. All right. And you're in good company. And with that being said, feel supported. And I shook Moisad. See you for the next scroll, which will be later this week. Does anybody else have anything to say? Feel free. If not, we're just going to wrap up right here.
I wanted to ask one question. Just
Sure.
one question. Do you have any information or any material that speaks of the connection or the healing of the nervous system, like in my case, I have a condition that affects the cerebral area. So the stroke is cerebral, and I wondered if you may have anything that speaks to or actually that pertains to conditions for healing. Anything that talks about the healing of that part of the system.
Yes, the Maltat. So the answer
Yeah.
is yes. There's plenty of scrolls, but there's a
Okay.
particular scroll that's practical. When I say practical, it means that you can actually put into practice, because we have
Okay.
scrolls that talk about it, and then we have scrolls on what to do about it. And the main
Okay.
scroll that I think of about what to do about it, that talk about it and what to do about it, is the breath book. The breath book itself talks about rhythmic breathing. It talks about overcoming physiological issues, overcoming
Okay.
emotional issues, things that you can do, even if you have a headache, if you have bad feelings.
Okay.
Even how to astral project is in that scroll. Everything is in that scroll. How to get
Mhm.
information from the cosmos, like Baba shows what he does. That scroll gives you almost how to do it too. How you can
Yeah.
tap in to the wisdom
Mhm.
of Panataru, yourself, um, and remembering yourself as a conduit. So the breath book talks about it. We had another book called The Science of Healing, but I
Mhm.
would say don't worry about older scrolls, because they may be out of print, and then people take advantage and try to
Okay.
sell them for a lot of money.
Oh
But
boy.
sometimes if you see it, and somebody may have a PDF and they want to share it to you, but the breath book is in print. And that book has been very helpful to me.
Mhm.
And it can help to re-regulate, because we have something called the nerve revitalizing, the nerve revitalization breath. And you
Okay.
know that the brain itself is
Mhm.
part of the nervous system, because
Yes.
that's a bunch of neurons itself. So you're
Mhm.
helping to re-stimulate the nervous system and to re-heal
Right.
it. So
Right.
You're done.
yeah, and it's very simple.
Mhm.
Very simple. It's so simple that Baba said that he was afraid, the one fear that he had with that book, that it's so simple that we won't take it seriously, because it's too
Mhm.
simple. We want something deep and heavy, and the simple things
Really.
we overlook, when it's the simple things that are healing us.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Great. So
Hmm.
yes, thank you for sharing that with me. I'll
Yes.
have to actually obtain some more information on that as to where do I source the information. Um, but that's for later. Later I'll handle that. Okay, thank you so much. Thank
All
you.
right.
Yeah, I want to share something with him on. I'm a martial arts master. I teach Tai Chi. Tai Chi is a good form. All the books, the Paa Taraqs that she just mentioned to you, are good for the breathing and the breath, and they do work with the nervous system. A lot of people breathe from the chest mostly, but breathing from the stomach and learning to breathe from the lower, it massages the internal organs, and it also works the nerves as well. But meditation, and I just mentioned Tai Chi because Tai Chi works with internal energy, and it works with the energy of heaven and earth and the five elements that are around us. And it also it goes hand in hand with the breathing
scroll, because that way you will learn to breathe, and breathing becomes a meditation in itself. If you have a nervous situation. With that, I'll land.
So
Thank you so much for sharing that too. Thank you.
Oh, I forgot another scroll that I would recommend too. The relaxation scroll. Relaxation scroll is important because that book talks about the importance of what happens in that relaxation state and concentration. Those two scrolls, if you read those together, it's gonna give you a lot of tools on what to do to heal a certain condition. All right. I saw Zamal Kosi.
Rahubat Zamalta. Rahubat Musa. So I wanted to ask, you talked about the frequency of the tuning fork. I didn't get the exact frequency. I was going to look into buying one maybe. So what was the frequency, the correct frequency for the tuning fork?
All right. So the one that I have, based on the research and everything I know now, the one that I really like is 432 hertz. All right. And then you could also make sure, because sometimes some of them are like of cheaper quality and the frequency is slightly off. But if you get a good tuning fork, 432 hertz. The next tuning fork I'm going to buy for myself is going to be half of 432 hertz, which would be one octave down. So that'll be 217 hertz. Yeah. I'm going to get 217 hertz, which is still in it's the same octave, because I feel like I'm usually in 217. So I'm going to get that one, because this one is like, yeah, so I feel like I'm one octave below, because so I'm like 217, but 432 hertz. From I didn't see where Baabaa said 432 hertz, but what he has said, I forgot exactly the verbiage he used, which led me that it was, he says something about biorhythm 8 or something like that, and then the multiples, because I went into a mathematician website that was talking about frequencies, and I saw that the closest thing was 432 hertz, because it's mathematically most sound, and then it also feels better. So I tested that, because I have 440 hertz, and that one gives me a headache if I use it too long. And I have 432, and this one I could listen to all day, and it's fine. So that's where I'm misexplaining as to why and what I know about it so far. So 432, and it says it right here, 432 hertz.
All right.
Let me see if you can see it.
So you just use it. How do you use it? You just hit it and then use it regularly, or just like when you want to chant, or is there a ritual for it?
Yeah, you can use it in so many ways. I use it when I'm going to chant. Ya ye nataru muslafunun afuznun manehpa mujwadu, because it takes my mind back. This is A. This is the note of A. So it takes me down to A. Ya ye nataru muslafunun. So I chant with this. But sometimes when I first bought it, I used to just strike it and listen to it. I would just listen to it sometimes. You could do a lot of things with it, because I know somebody else who they're not into the scroll at all, but then they heard me. They said they just heard me striking it, and they said, "Oh, can I have one?" They asked me, like, because they say, "Oh, they always wanted a tuning fork because they just like to hear it because it makes them relax." And people do it for meditation, calms them down. So you can use it in multiple ways. Sometimes if you just feel really frustrated and then you look in the mirror, sometimes I did mirror exercises with it.
Yeah.
And then I did
that's what I was thinking about, because I was frustrated today, and I think I needed something like that. And with the sounds I'm hearing in my ear, I think it would help. I don't know.
Yes, it would definitely help. And then And then you'll notice that you'll be able to recognize music that's already on this. You know whose music I find who reminds me of just listening to this? South African music. Like South African, their hymns and stuff,
They are
the way
covered.
they do
Yeah,
it. To
yeah.
me, and my mom, she used to listen to that when I was a child. So I had to tell her that I sent her something and it reminded me of her and the healing frequencies in it. And then you just look at them and they're all synchronized, all the children, they're chanting together, or the adults or whoever, because I used to hear this South African group. I don't remember, but I could see it in my childhood. There was a men. And she would just be in a good mood. Everything would just be peaceful. We would be calm. And I remember we used to just draw, like me and my mom. We used to just draw. So she used to put that on me and my brother. We just draw for hours. And it just kind of brings you into a certain focus, certain concentration, and into the present. So, you know, especially us in the West, you know, we're a little bit disconnected from our tones. Sometimes just our African voices and the African breathing, because to make certain tones, you have to be breathing a certain way. And it's like you could tell South Africans, the way they chant, they breathe properly, you know, and it makes you breathe properly because you feel like you're breathing easier yourself, you know. So, but just having the tuning fork is cheap. You could put it in your pocket, you know. And I bought this because I don't like that clinging sound, because without it, you hear that clinging, and I don't want to hear that clinging. So I use this with the rubber on it, which I bought separate. So I don't have to hear that. Like if I strike it soft, the cling is not as much. And I just go straight into vibration. So, I mean, it's been helpful to me, especially in the beginning. I used to do it every day, listen to it every day, and just be in the mirror sometimes. But I feel like, you know, I regulated a lot, and it's nice that I always have it right there. And I bought a few of them so I could find out which one was my favorite. And this is the one that I always gravitate to, this one. All right. So, with that being said, I think this is a great. I see, Imani, you're still unmuted. Were you finished?
Yeah, Rahba,
Oh,
I
yes.
think I lost the chat. I just catch up at the end. I'm coming from work, and I think later we have to listen it alone. It was just to thank you and to answer to Kosi that the music, the reggae music of Bob Marley, they used to say that is for 432 hertz also. If you listen to him, is that they used to say. I like his music. I know this can heal also. Is that they say. Just to say that I lost the chat for today. I was not there. I was at work. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, that was perfect. You know, the reggae music, a lot of the reggae music, I'm not talking about modern day, but our like
Yeah.
roots reggae, very healing. You know, South
Yes.
African, very healing. South African too. A lot of like, who else? I think Malayan music from Mali, very healing.
Yeah, Bob Marley. Yeah, Bob
Yeah,
Marley.
yeah.
Yes. That
And
music
Mali, I
is
was saying.
okay.
Music from Mali
It's
too, the country.
432.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For Mali? You mean for
Yeah,
Mali?
Mali. Yeah, music from Mali.
Mandinka music. Yes, it's very good.
Mm-hmm.
I used to listen to it. Yes.
I
Mm-hmm.
want to put a build on what you all are saying. Having plants around you and walking barefooted in the grass, it grounds you. It also helps with healing because when it takes you back to natural nature, sitting in the park somewhere and just listening to the birds sing, uh, listening to the sounds of nature, like the ocean waves. Uh, all the music is great. Yes, the music does because it's from the native land and it is from our mother country. It has our spirit in it, and our nature in it as well. But I just wanted to share that because being closer to natural nature has a lot to do with the plants, and it has a lot to do with the ground, the earth, and the breathing. Everything goes hand in hand when you're sitting out in a park somewhere or just listening, quiet with silence. It helps heal. And then smiling a lot when you're smiling, you smile love to your heart, you smile love to your liver, your kidneys. You give love back to the self, which we call a shook. But when I say smile, meaning you give love back to the internal organs as you're breathing in and out. And with that, I land. I just want to share that.
All right, Tower Hat. So I think this is a great place for us to end. Everything is recorded. So Zamal Kosi, you'll be able to see what was recorded as well. I think you're going to really enjoy the scroll. And I see Sago, and after Sago, we'll wrap up there. Rahubat Zamal Sago. I saw you unmute, Sago. All right. So maybe that was an accident. So I appreciate everybody taking time out of your day for the purpose of coming together to put our story back together, right? And we can heal ourselves, all right? And now we see the importance of aid and getting back to our foundation. So see you later on this week. We'll put the date of when we're coming together for our next scroll and what we're going to read. And feel supported in your healing. You're in good company. And Ashuk Moisar Wadu.
Wadu.
Wadu.